When they get to see their parents step out in courage and to try something that they've never done before, you're not just breaking a cycle, you're entering a new one. I kid you not, we are spoiled for choice. Like, they rarely do the same things every weekend. Yes, it's a park, yes, it's a picnic, things like that. It's a staple sort of what we're doing outside. But when we go to parks and things, they literally have the entire park to themselves. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing a Q&R, a question and response. I've chosen to call it question and response because I won't always have an answer for you, but I can give you a response about what this experience has been like for me. First question, how did the kids adapt to life in Australia, life outside of South Africa, a new country? Also, I'm putting this here because sometimes when I record for you guys, well, you wouldn't know because I haven't been here for a while. But anyway, the sound quality from some of the things that I wanted to share with you wasn't great. So now I'm holding it. Hope you find that helpful. Yeah, back to it. How did the kids adapt to the move? Kids are very resilient. Kids are so much less complicated than adults. Our kids transitioned relatively well. The first year in Australia was very different for me, and at times I would project my feelings, my insecurities, my overwhelm, and they would pick up on that, and then they would project that, but it wasn't necessarily their experience. So when I look back and I reflect on what their first experience was when we first came over, they were so excited. And I think school helped a lot in the first year. Christian started year 1. Gracie was 2 turning 3. So she would have been in daycare if we had opted for that in that first year. So she wouldn't have been in school just yet. But yeah, the schooling here is very different from South Africa. And I think the soft entry approach that they have, and that just means like when I drop them off at school now, but even when I drop just him off at school, you enter the school, you wait for the bell to ring if you choose to do so with your child, if they are younger or older, depending on, your level of leaving them. But anyway, I would stay around till the bell rang, and you get to interact with their teachers. They set out, like, there's multiple playgrounds at school. So they set out like activities for the kids and things apart from just having the jungle gyms and things like that. So Gracie saw all of that very early. Christian loved it. Like, I can't even tell you that he was like a fish to water. He adapted so quickly. And I recognize that my kids are very young. When we came over, they were 2 and 5, or 3 and 5. And it might be different for older kids and teenagers and their experience with immigrating. So I can't really say that my experience will be yours, but I can say that children are a lot more adaptable from what I've seen. They are resilient. But I think as a parent, be mindful of what you project onto them. I was a lot more reserved in that first year, cautious, obviously, but they adapted really well. It's very different. So I would say prepare them. If you're still in South Africa, talk to them about the change. And if you're a family who travels, that'll be easier because, they're open to new experiences and things like that. we weren't a family who traveled because we couldn't afford to, if I'm being honest. But in South Africa, so yeah, this was completely new for them. So I did a lot of talking to them about what's coming, even though I myself didn't know what was coming. But we would watch YouTube videos like these, fun ones, about the new places that they get to explore and just opening up their mind to the possibility of a new place. What is a monthly budget for your family? A monthly budget for us, and I say this with as much love as I possibly can to you. Give yourself grace. It's still taking me time to figure out groceries, the shops that I really enjoy shopping at. Yeah, just all of that. What I found tricky was in South Africa, bulls would get paid monthly. Here they get paid fortnightly, monthly, and 3 monthly. So, yeah, I found that tricky. But in saying all of that, I now have a fortnightly budget, a monthly budget, and a 3 monthly budget, which is a lot to keep track of. But you'll get the hang of it. And in that first year, you're gonna make mistakes. You're not gonna know actually what a monthly spend would cost you because you might do all of your shopping in the first month at IGA and then figure out that, hey, IGA is not a sustainable option for you. Me. And then you'll figure it out as you go. But realistically, if at the top of my head, if I had to tell you how much we pay as a family of 4 per month on bills, it's between $4,000 to $5,000. And that includes like our entertainment and going out as a family as well. But if you would like to know a detailed budget and what that looks like for me, let me know in the comments and I'll make a separate sort of video of that detailing our costs and rental and subscriptions and groceries and petrol and rego and utilities and school stuff is not as expensive because we buy that sort of seasonally and annually, and even saying it's not that expensive is not true. So you got a budget for those things, but it's not like factored into a monthly cost. Yeah. Did you visit Australia before immigration? No. Early on in my early 20s, I was an au pair in America. And then I moved back to South Africa, lived in Johannesburg for some time, and then came over to Pietermaritzburg. And we lived there. We got married there, we had our children there. We had never visited outside of like Durban trips. We've always wanted to go to Cape Town though. But no, we never came to Australia. We couldn't afford to make the move or visit Australia and then decide, hey, let's move over there. We relied completely on God, on praying for this to happen. We did do a certain level of saving for the move, but we didn't travel here before, and we watched a lot of YouTube videos. At the time, there wasn't a lot of content on how much the move would cost us, hence why I'm so passionate about telling you guys how much everything is costing or has cost. And yeah, but those figures do change every year. So, it might have cost us 60,000 Rand at the time, but now I'm sure it's a lot more, or maybe, prices change. So it's just to give you an idea of what it could cost or what it could be, but don't hold strictly to I need to save 60,000 rand to make the move, you know. And that was based on a sponsorship as well. But yeah, we didn't come to Australia before. We watched a lot of YouTube videos. We didn't think that we'd end up in Perth. We love Perth though, based on what we hear about Melbourne and Sydney and Brisbane and all of the other places. Perth is very family oriented. There is so much for the kids. I kid you not. Like in Pietermaritzburg, I would sit, like I would work Monday to Friday, and then I would think about what can I do with the kids on the weekend. And realistically, the only things I could do with them was, you know, that Sassel garage with like the indoor playground thing, indoor outdoor playground, but then you have to like buy something to enter it, or Queen Elizabeth Park. I love to hike down those trails. Yeah, those were my two options. Oh, and then we sort of started liking going to botanical gardens every weekend, but still, again, you had needed to pay to enter. So yeah, those were our three things that we would do in Pietermaritzburg. And the mall. Fun tubbles. And that would be my routine every weekend with them. Like we'd choose one of those 4 places and go there. Here, oh guys, I kid you not. We are spoiled for choice. Like they really do the same things every weekend. Yes, it's a park. Yes, it's a picnic. Things like that. You know, it's a staple sort of what we're doing outside. But when we go to parks and things, they literally have the entire park to themselves. And I make YouTube videos about that, you know, because it's brilliant. But I took them on a few experiences over the school holidays. Like they went indoor skydiving. A 5 and a 7-year-old, like, you know, they get to have that now. And there's just so much to do, so much, and I can't even tell you. You've got to experience this, and it's free. Not the indoor skydiving, the parks. You do pay for like the indoor play centers and things like that, but I don't take them often to those type of places. One, because I like the outdoors. I want them to experience the outdoors. So yeah, there's just so much to do with them. I can't remember what was the question. Anyway, moving on. What suburbs would you recommend to a new family? You guys, I live in Perth, so it depends on where you go. I can't really say what suburb is great. I can't. And if you watch videos and people are telling you, hey, the suburb is great, the suburb is great, you've got to experience it for yourself, because we sort of didn't choose the suburb that we live in because of, you know, the rental market at the time, and still the rental market right now. You take at times what you get. But we were very, very blessed, thank you, Jesus, that we got a great suburb. It's very community based. There's lots of families here. We're close to a lot of parks. Also, the schools that you attend would be based on where you live. It's called a catchment. So if you are in the catchment area, you'd go to that school that is closest to where you live. For public schools. Private schools are different. You get to choose if you get accepted. Yeah. So I can't really tell you what suburbs to choose. I would suggest, you know, look at the parks and the schools around the places that you find interesting, and then keep an eye out on realestate.com. Have you started working? Yes, I have started working. I did post a video about I went to school last year. I went back to college to study something completely new. I pivoted. I'm in a new career now. I'm very happy, guys. I'm really content in what I do, what I'm learning. It's a completely new industry for me. I was used to like the corporate sort of setting. This is more community based and people focused. I am learning every day. Australian work culture is very different from what I know from South Africa. But yeah, I have started working. Is the food the same? Yes and no. I mean, if you're gonna be cooking in your house, you're gonna make the same type of stuff that you like, right? Um, my husband and I sort of like the same foods, so that's helpful. He makes an amazing curry. Yeah, so it is at first, if you're trying to find like the same ingredients, it will take you some time. But the food here, in terms of if you're cooking at home, it will take you time to find like the ingredients that you enjoy cooking with, but it's not difficult to find. I do miss Bombay Delight. I haven't found that here, but they do have the extra special Durban masala, which is okay. Yeah. Yeah, but in terms of like takeout and stuff, oh, there's so many options. They have a huge Asian cuisine here. It's like all sorts of Asian food that you can possibly think of. You'll probably get it. Also, Indian food is great. They have lots of lovely takeout options. We don't often eat takeout because we do cook at home based on right now we're saving as much as we can. So yeah. What advice do you have for other immigrating families? When I think back on this experience, I would say have sort of an expectation, but be flexible. The way you imagine life to be here when you come probably will be in line, but you've got to be flexible because it might not be in line. So, like, hold your expectations softly, you know. Also, if you're immigrating as a family, know that each of your experiences are going to be very different. Like for that first year, it was a huge transition for me because I came from a job and then I became a stay-at-home mom, which I loved. So everybody's experiences will be different. The children's will be different to yours. Your husband's will be different to yours. Your wife's will be different to yours. It will be very different. And I think in that regard, your perspective should be one of grace, but also gratitude. And yeah, just support each other as much as you can. So that's my advice. Like, just there'll be times when you have more energy to support the family, and your partner might be in a really low state, but it won't always stay that way. Your partner might rise up, will rise up actually, and you'll find yourself in a lower state, and then you'll be each other's balance somehow, carrying the load. I hope that makes sense. But also, do your research. Watch vlogs, watch YouTube videos, keep up to date with the visa changes, keep up to date with the skills shortage list. We did have an immigration attorney, and like I shared in a different one, even though I trust myself with admin details and things like that and filling in forms and all of those things, sometimes you do miss things when you're so close to the project, So having that outside perspective is very valuable at times. Would you have immigrated without sponsorship? I don't think we would have. One, the entire move itself cost about maybe $20,000 to $30,000. So that's 350, give or take, thousand rand. 350,000 rand. Realistically, guys, we didn't have that money in South Africa. Yes, we had our own house and we had cars, but like I shared in a different video, those cars, that house wasn't ours. It was on loan from the bank. And when you change your perspective of, do you actually own anything? And become really honest with yourself, it's like, okay, wow, this is humbling. So realistically, we couldn't have afforded the move. So sponsorship was our only option. Um, Also, if we had visited Australia before making the move, I think the currency and all of that would have scared me to see the cost of living per month, things like that, how much groceries cost. Um, yeah, I think my mindset was very limited back then. But now, knowing what I know, having seen what I've seen, like, I would not even think twice about it. The money that if you think about that you would spend to come over if you were doing it yourself, you could easily make that back if both of you are working. um it has taken us some time to break even, for the cost that we spent, and then saving that back. It does take a while because you're still learning the money, you're learning where to shop, you're learning everything afresh, but you're not learning from a blank canvas. You're learning from experiences that you've had in South Africa. You know how to budget, maybe with rands, but now you got to learn with dollars. So that's the only new thing. But it's not like you've never budgeted. It's not like you've never done meat shopping at a butcher or finding spices in an Indian shop. My point is that you're moving over with some sort of understanding, a baseline. It's not a blank canvas. So, knowing what I know now, I would definitely make the move. Just because I see the experiences that my kids get to have. And I know that this life is not just for me, it's not just for my husband. It's what we instilling into Gracie and Christian. It's the generational wealth that we're building. It's the mindsets that we're opening up their eyes to. Like Christian and Grace now talk about Tokyo, and they talk about all these different places that they want to see. Like I don't think when I was 5 and 7 that I even thought about those things. So when they get to see their parents step out in courage and to try something that they've never done before, you're not just breaking a cycle, you're entering a new one. How has life changed since the move? So much. Like I think back on who I was 3 years ago, and I love and respect her, but I am not her. And would I trade places with her? No. I read a quote the other day that said, if you doubt the progress that you've made, would you trade places with who you were a year ago? No. I love the experiences I get to have. Sometimes it's really challenging. I found everything hard. And that's why there's times where I'm not on here very much, because I'm just in my secret place with God and I'm like, God, why? How? Or can I? And I'm not even going to tell you that this is going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. It's never going to be easy. But staying in South Africa is not easy either. Like waking up and thinking, is your lights going to be on today? Oh, jeez, I hated that. So choose your difficult. This is going to be hard. It's going to be hard. It has to be hard if it's going to be worth it. Like the Bible says that be joyful when you get crushed, because the crushing is going to produce something really good in your life. And I know our culture doesn't want to face adversity and all of those things, but Gold is only refined in fire. And who knows what you're going to become. But you've got to give yourself the chance. So, yeah, I love how I've grown. I love the new things that I get to experience. One of our big reasons of the move was because we didn't have a strong support network in South Africa. Like the kids just had us and we just had each other, you know. But coming over in these 3 years, we've made friends, we've met new people who inspire, encourage, speak life into us, and pray over us. We never had that. So it's more than just a financial move, it's more than just the beautiful parks and the beautiful beaches that you get to experience by yourself. It's the life-giving. You'll see when you come over. It's just like there are people that's waiting to love on you, to care for you, to be kind to you.